Pastor Roy Gerhart from Galloway United Methodist Church in Franklin, Pennsylvania, sharing a few words of encouragement to help us follow after Jesus. We've been following the work of Solomon in the book of Ecclesiastes, where he's been exploring the question, what is it that is worth living for? What is it that makes life worth doing? And when he came to the final chapter, he offers us his conclusion. The 12th chapter of Ecclesiastes begins with this word. It says, remember your Creator before you're old and worn out. It's like, don't wait until you're ready to die to get interested in what God has for you and to try to somehow get a good retirement plan worked out without, the investment of all the years before. He said, no, don't do that. He says, if you really want to find the answer that we've been searching for, the meaning of life, what makes it worth living, connect with your Creator. Do it now. That's the secret. And he sums it up then in the final verses of the 12th chapter. He said, after you break it all down, here's the final conclusion. Fear God and keep His commands. Now, what does that mean? Fear God, keep His commands. If that's the summation, if that's the real takeaway for all of this, what does it mean? How do we define that? And how do we live it? Does fear God mean that we're supposed to go through a whole life like an abused child or an animal that's been beaten, always worrying that they're going to be hit every time that person comes in the room? Or that you and I are supposed to go through our lives and all the time be worrying, oh no, I messed up. God's going to be so mad. And we're worried that we're going to be struck down once again. Well, 1 John chapter 4 says that you and I are supposed to discover a God who loves us, a God who has shown us mercy in Jesus. And it says there in 1 John 4 that perfect love drives out fear. That fear, it says, has to do with judgment. And perfect love, this mercy and grace of God in Jesus, it drives out all fear of judgment in our lives. It's replaced instead with this adoration of God, where we look at God with such awe and wonderment to say, you are so good, so perfect, so holy, so beautifully loving that there is nothing that I want to do that would violate that. It's not a fear of being struck or rejected. It's a fear that says, I do not want to do anything less than adore and worship you because you are that wondrous. That's the fear of God when it is fully blossomed in our lives. And keep His commands. Well, what does that mean? What commands? Is there a checklist? I mean, do we just need to get the list of commandments and check them off as we go? I mean, God did give the 10 commandments and other commandments. What is it that we need to do to fear God and keep His commands? Well, there was a young man who came to Jesus one day, and he asked Jesus, what good thing do I need to do to gain eternal life? And Jesus said to him, well, keep God's commands. And the young man said, which ones? Now we're cooking. Somebody asked the question, what commands are on the list? What do I need to do to get all of this fulfilled so that I know that I'm in? And Jesus named a handful of commandments, most of them from the 10 commandments. And here's the kicker. The young man said, I've already done that. He said, from my youth, my childhood, I've done that all of my life. I've been keeping those commandments. And he said, what am I lacking? What is it that I'm still lacking? That's where we realize that keeping the commands is not a checklist of rules that we have to fulfill. It's something, in fact, that grabs a hold of us and calls on us to surrender our lives to God in order to follow Him. It's what Jesus invites this young man to do. He said to him, go, take all the things you have, sell them, give them away to the poor. You come and follow me. That's what you need. That young man, however, sadly went away because he had a lot of wealth and he was not willing to give it up to follow Jesus. Fear God and keep His commands says you and I have to want to follow God so much that we will surrender everything in order to do that. and that is where we find the fulfillment, the meaning of life. May God bless you today, and as you share his good news, may God make you a blessing wherever he takes you.